Hello and welcome back to the podcast of Audiogame Association. I'm Marta and today I'm here with the TriBit Studio. TriBit Studio is a production team focused on accessible games. The three members of the TriBit Studio are Damiano Coppola, Marianna Murgia and Andrea D'Angelo. Hi everyone.
Hi Marta.
Hi.
Hi everyone.
The three of them have three different jobs inside the team. In fact, Damiano is a programmer and a game designer, Marianna is a composer, a sound designer, and a game designer, and Andrea D'Angelo is a script writer and a game writer. So today we're talking about their studio, their team, the TriBit Studio, but also about a Western drama, their audio game. But let's start right away. The first question is for you, Marianna. How is the TriBit Studio born?
Okay, we met on a training course about game production and gamification. And Ivan Venturi, one of the teachers, now is our producer, showed to us how game production works. So we put our expertise together, sound music, narrative, and coding. And then we start to work on a Western drama.
This is for Damiano. A Western drama has been really a success. And I'd like to know, what are the ideas behind the Western drama? How is the game born?
Well, first of all, Andrea created the story of a Western drama with a general idea of the game levels and gameplay. Then Marianna moved on thinking about the audio based on the game scenes that Andrea created. And I joined the team later, like a late addition for when they realized that maybe they needed a programmer for for an audio game.
Yeah.
As for games in general, well, the reason why we created an audio game is because the number of games available, video games available and upcoming is always high. While as far as audio games are concerned, unfortunately, that is not the case. So we have chosen to create an audio game to give the opportunity to the blind and visually impaired people to have fun with the new product, being the community of other players often ignored or not necessarily ignored but little known. And there's another reason we were also interested in exploring this new world and the challenges that creating such a product would involve. And well, we hope to be able to explore it even more in the future. Well, the reason for a Western audio game is because the spaghetti Western genre has always fascinated us as we grew up with the movies of Bud Spencer and Terence Hill, with A Fistful of Dollars, with the good, the bad, and the ugly, which were Western stories that have always been very fun to watch, with a compelling story that always kept us glued to the screen at the very end. And with the Western drama, we tried to recreate this spaghetti Western spirit that excited us and bring it back in an audio game style, let's say, an audio game style. So that's basically how a Western drama was born.
Thank you. As Damiano has just said, a Western drama is a spaghetti Western. Andrea, are you a fan of the genre? Did you have any references in your mind while writing?
Yeah, I am a huge fan of the spaghetti Western genre, simply because I think that the Western is one of that genre that allow a writer like me to talk about anything, practically anything. And one example for all, in one of the last movies from Quentin Tarantino, Django, Tarantino set a typical spaghetti Western story, but he talked about slavery. This is one of the main features of this genre. In this way, the spaghetti Western, in my personal view, is very similar to the science fiction. A Western drama is a Western story, a spaghetti Western story, but also a very personal story. I had a lot of references while writing a Western drama. For example, Luciano Vincenzoni, Sergio Leone,
The big
Ennio
one.
Morricone, Sergio Donati, that handful of writers, directors, and composers that few years ago in the 60s basically invented the genre in our country, in Italy. All of them for me are basically gods. And in fact, for this reason, I in a Western drama I put a lot of quotes and references from their movies, but also from Western comic books and video games.
That's very interesting because the player must look for them in a way, for the references, the lines.
Not all of our players know the genre, but I think they feel that Western atmospheres, and that Western atmosphere is built also on these quotes and references about the spaghetti westerns.
Then, Damiano, from a designer point of view, which is the most precious part of the game, or the one that you like the most programming?
Well, I'd say the parts of the game that I like the most programming and also playing are the two types of shootings. The simple shootouts where you are surrounded by many enemies, and the more fast-paced shootouts where you are on the wagon. And in the beginning, I remember I made them a lot harder than how they are now, like a lot, with the last ones being almost unforgiving. Then I reduced the difficulty quite a bit based on the feedbacks and testing done by other players, blind players mainly. But in general, the thing that's most fun for me to program is a new mechanic, like thinking how would that work? Is this level too simple or too difficult? Too long, too short? We had blind people test our game, as I said before our release, and got great feedbacks and ideas after our release, RPC and back release, like different mechanics or the changings to the difficulty or the length of some levels. Some levels were considered too long. These new ideas and improvement we'd like to explore even more in a possible future project.
Now, Marianna, one of the aspects that makes the soundtrack of a Western drama so special is the use of binaural beats. Can you tell us about this binaural audio? How does it work? Why did you think of it for a Western drama?
Okay, the soundtrack is not in binaural, but the old sound is in binaural. Because music is not created in that way. Binaural audio is a technology that allows to create a three-dimensional soundscape. Thanks to an algorithm that allows to recreate the way in which works the human hearing. Applying this in a game, it's possible to localize some sound with more sense of depth than a classic stereo pan. It means more realistic sound, and that changes the point of view. That this can change the point of view or the point of listening of the listener. In a video game, it's like playing in first person or in third person. We usually listen in a third person. Like we watch a film. In that case, we are surrounded about sound, and in Western drama, we use binaural audio to localize the sound sources and create an authentic Western village sound. We wanted the player to be surrounded from this soundscape. So it's possible here horses move around and people walking, and the gameplay use this movement of sound to help the player, the guide that call the player and shows how to reach a point, or maybe some sound of enemies that to avoid on the other mechanics that like the duel use is really important to recognize where sound come from. I don't want to spoiler too much what the game is, so but this the game is really full of this mechanics. So
Yeah, and that's very interesting indeed. So, well, we are here talking about the audio. So let's hear a little part of the gameplay, but without binaural audio.
I'm already regretting taking this road.
Trust your instinct, Wade. That was a long time ago. You're a professional now.
But it seems quiet here. I don't know if there's anything for us.
We can ask the local sheriff. Let's leave our horses and look for him.
Maybe I spoke too soon. These screams will give us some work to do.
I love the frontier. If we capture them alive, they're worth more. Those two big guys. I'll take the one on the left. You take the one on the right.
Bastard!
Asshole! I'll kill you! Take this rope. Let's tie them up. They could come round and, well, still be pissed.
Yeah, that's why I prefer guns. There we go. Trussed up real tight.
Let's go find the sheriff. Then we'll come back and get them.
Sure. If anyone here touches them, they'll end up the same way.
Here we are back. So, Andrea, you're a script writer. How would you describe writing an audio game? Is it like writing for a movie?
Actually, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
A Western drama is an arcade game, so it has a typical story structure of an arcade. So we have different moments of gameplay between one moment and the other. We have the audio cinematics through which the player leaves the story. Okay, but we must remember. It sounds trivial, maybe, but we must remember that a Western drama is an audio game. An audio game is a game without video. So one of the most important features of our game is the 3D audio. For this reason, I'm writing a Western drama. I think this golden rule: all the audio source must move around the player. In this way, the player feel immersed in the game. For this reason, during the writing process, in the audio cinematics, we have a lot of movement, a lot of action, and the audio in the game is more important than a simple video game. And for this reason, I wrote the cinematics of a Western drama with a lot of movements. While a character talks to the player, he or she moves around the player. When a character make an action, an NPC make an action with the player, he moves around the player. This is a main feature of an audio game with the 3D audio, and I try to use 3D audio also for writing and for feel the action around me and also around the player, obviously.
Okay, thank you. Marianna, what are your studies? How did you approach the world of audio games?
I study Conservatorio, is a music academy, electronic music and jazz music. And I attend some course about music production, so how to use programs like Pro Tools, Logic, and Virtual Instrument to create music. I approached the world of audio games thanks to Ivan Venturi because I worked with him before to attend the game production course. I worked with him on music of some of his series game like Progetto Ustica or Gran Sasso video game. And he talked to me about Audiogame Association and the game for blind people that he produced. And I was really impressed about the idea to build a game totally using a sound. This has become a goal for me because building playable soundscape and using new audio technology like ambisonics or binaural audio was a thing that was really interesting, and I made all to go in that direction. And yes, I like a real-life soundtrack too, of course. So I try to mix all this, the two aspects of the sound.
And you, Andrea, have you ever written anything else apart from a Western drama?
Yeah, in this period, I work with also not only audio game industry but also video game and animation industries. And One for All, for example, I wrote some projects that the Audiogame Association published in this period. For example, the Audiogame Fury Driver that they published a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
As a story that I wrote.
Oh,
Then
wow.
the game was made by Riccardo Vecchi, one of the programmers of Audiogame Association, but I wrote that story. I have a lot of different projects actually, and I hope to make other audio games actually, because it is a very intriguing and inspiring challenge. And I also invite many game creators, game writers, and so on to take on the challenge of an audio game. It's a very inspiring way of thinking, of writing, and of create a game, in my personal view.
And I really agree with you. I think it's
Yeah.
very, very interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask this last question to Damiano. What can we expect from TriBit Studio? We will see a sequel of Western drama.
But we really hope we'll be able to create a new audio game. We really hope so. More than anything, I'd love to think about and create and explore brand new mechanics that have never been implemented before, which we already discussed, by the way. We are already thinking about new mechanics and new ideas. We have received lots of feedbacks from our players, and we'd like to create a new product based on them. And this new product will then be a complete evolution of a Western drama, improving existing gameplays. Most importantly, adding a lot more content in terms of mechanics, character customizations, and side content too. We'd like to make the next game less linear and with more side quests and customizations in general. That's what we really hope to do.
Well, that's all for now. Thank you very much, Damiano, Marianna, and Andrea, for being here. I'd like to remind you all that you can find the Western drama, as usual, on Audiogame.Store, but also on Steam, because a Western drama has been released on Steam in the past few days, so you can find it there. And there's the link in the description down below. So thank you very much, and goodbye till next time. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.